Hi guys, I've got something really cool to show you today, the Scribbles That Matter Bullet Planner. It's an undated B5 planner that's a combination between a bullet journal and a more traditional planner. I think many of us have heard of Scribbles That Matter as a company that makes notebooks popular with bullet journalers, but I only recently discovered that they have also come out with a planner. It only comes in one size as far as I can tell, B5, and I got mine from Amazon UK. I'll leave the link down below. It comes in this really cool cardboard box that says Scribbles That Matter and has some designs on the front, and then on the back it tells you what's in the bullet planner. So it's very good for those of you who like to store your planners, because you slide this off and then inside there's this very nice solid cardboard box that you can keep it in. I like the fact that there's minimal plastic in the packaging. It does come shrink wrapped in plastic, but the actual box itself is cardboard. And once you open that, you have the planner. So like I said, this is B5 in size, so if we compare it to my Hobunschi cousin, which is A5, it's quite a bit bigger. It's the same size as a B5 Stalogy notebook. And here it is in comparison to the large Erin Condren, just to give you an idea if you're more familiar with that. So as you can see, it's a turquoise hardback vegan leather cover, and it has this contrasting yellow elastic, and it also has a really interesting spine, which I'll talk more about in a minute, that's also yellow. So a very, very interesting and striking color combination. So on the front it says Bullet Planner, and I think that this is a really cool title because it does actually combine elements of bullet journaling with elements of planning or planners. So the elastic is quite thick, and it has contrasting yellow stitching here on the side, which I think is really nice. The cover is a little tiny bit textured. I think maybe you can see it there. You can see some texture. It's a very, very nice, soft vegan leather, very good quality. And if we turn over to this side, you can see this is what it looks like on the side. The pages are rounded on the corners, which is always a nice touch, and the cover is rounded too, so you won't get the covers getting, the corners getting damaged. And then this is what it looks like on the back. So at the bottom it says Scribbles That Matter in their logo, and then it has these little icons that are typical of the Scribbles That Matter notebooks. They usually have designs like this on the cover and the back of the elastic there. And then on the other side you have this really interesting feature. So first of all, you can see that this is a hardcover. Let me just open this and you can see it's a really thick hardcover, so very sturdy on both sides, and you can see it's got this contrast stitching in yellow on both sides. But then very unusually for a hardback planner, in fact I've never seen anything like this, the binding is different. So instead of just being made of the same material, there's a break, the cover ends here, and it's stitched to this other material which is a lot softer and more flexible, and that's what the spine is made out of. So you have like these two boards for the covers, and then you have this more flexible spine, and I assume that that was done so that it would lay perfectly flat, which it does. It does lay really flat. So that's the spine, and then there's another interesting feature on the spine which I've also never seen before, and it's a pen loop. So let me just show you what it looks like with a pen in it. So it's elastic, matches the cover, and you can get quite a chunky pen in here. This is a Kaweco Student, which is a pretty thick fountain pen, and it fits in there absolutely fine. And this is a Pilot Metropolitan, so that's what it looks like. And I think that this is a really interesting way of designing a pen loop, because it actually means that you have very little extra bulk when the pen loop is on. Instead of having the pen loop stick out the side, which is quite common with this type of bound planner, you have it on the spine here, and it really doesn't take up any room. And then if you take it out while you're writing in it, then obviously it won't cause any interference if you want to put the book down on the table. So I think that that is a really interesting design, and it looks really cool as well. So if we open it up, you get 3 bookmarks, which is awesome, and I think that this is something that shows that this company really has bullet journalers in mind, because as far as I know, the only other company that gives you 3 bookmarks is the Leuchtturm official bullet journal. So I think this is a really nice touch. Each one is a different color. You've got 2 colors matching the cover, turquoise and yellow, and then you have a black one. So I think that's really nice. And the end paper is this charcoal cardstock, very sturdy feeling. And then it goes straight into the first page, which says Scribbles That Matter Bullet Planner. The following scribbles belong to, and then date journal started and date journal ended. So like I mentioned, this is an undated planner. And the interesting thing about this is that if you can see here, this is all dot grid. And this is a feature that we're going to see throughout this planner, is that almost every page is dot grid. And I think that's really interesting because that's another nod to the whole bullet journal context that this is clearly based in. In terms of font, here it has the typical Scribbles That Matter logo, and then this is some kind of sans serif font. It looks like Arial or something similar to me. You then go onto the next page, which has a key, and if you are familiar with their notebooks, you'll recognize this design. So it's got bullet code and then color code, and this page is blank, no dot grids. And this whole thing is printed in the Scribbles That Matter font. So then going on to the next page, you have some year-at-a-glance calendars, and this is the one exception to this being an undated planner, is that you've got 2017, 2018, and 2019. So this is interesting again because the page has got dot grids all around the calendar, and then the calendars themselves don't have the dot grids. They're just blank here, but if you wanted to write notes around it, you've got the dot grid. So it keeps you in the bullet journal frame of mind the whole time. It's a Monday start, which I love. I think that Scribbles That Matter is a UK-based company, so that would explain why it's a Monday start, rather than a Sunday start as is common on North American monthly calendars. And it goes from January to December 2018, and then the same thing for 2019. Then you move into another really interesting spread, and as we go through this planner, you're going to see that it has a lot of features which you don't see anywhere else in hardly any planner, and that definitely are influenced by the bullet journal world. So this says annual progress tracker, and the idea for this is that you would chart things like YouTube subscribers, Instagram followers. It could really be anything, but those are some ideas that they give. So it says week 0, and then it goes to week 52, and you've got 2 of these. So you could do, let's say, one for Instagram, one for YouTube, if you wanted to use this as a social media planner, or you could, really use it for anything you want. You could use one chart for more than one topic that you're tracking. And it's got little lines here, so that let's see, it's got dotted grid boxes. Not the same as the dot grid. It's got the dot grid around the side here, which is the typical kind of rounded dot grid, but then it has little like broken lines here, which are more like the Hobonichi dot grids, if that makes sense. And every 5 lines you get a solid line, so that you can say, I don't know, if you're tracking hundreds or tens or thousands or whatever you're tracking, you can put the numbers in there. So I think that's a really nice spread. So you get 2 of those for the year. And then you get a spread of dot grids, and it says planning space. So this is really nice because I really like the whole dot grid theme, because it just makes you feel like you're using a dot grid bullet journal, but you've got all of these spreads which, if you're like me, you would never draw out yourself. So it's just very nice to have them in here already pre-printed, while still giving you the feel that you're using a dot grid bullet journal. So you've got 2 spreads like that, and it says planning space at the top. And then you go over to another really interesting feature that I think is unique to this planner, but you see a lot in bullet journals. So it says month here at the top. Again, the whole thing is dot grid. Then monthly overview, and you've got a little vertical monthly layout here that goes from 1 to 31, and this box is blank here on the left, so you could put in the day of the week there. and it's in the middle of the page, so you've got stuff that you can put to the left and stuff you can put to the right. And then you have a habit tracker for the month. So again, total bullet journal inspiration here. And this is what I think makes this planner so interesting, is that it really is a hybrid between a bullet journal and a planner. So here it says day of the week, date, and then it's got numbers from 1 to 31. So this is just the typical bullet journal habit tracker. And this is all solid lines, and then around it you've got the dot grid. And then up here it says goals to accomplish, this month's tasks, and then end of the month review. So this is like your little monthly station. You've got everything that you need for the month. You have a habit tracker, you have a monthly overview, which to me seems like it would be very naturally suitable for use as a forward planner, where you would put in everything that you've got planned for the month. And here you've got goals and tasks, and then you've got a little review. So I like this because they have included a lot of information here, but it's very understated. So I prefer this kind of simplified, slightly minimalistic layout to the planners where they give you a lot of information and say, like, give you instructions that take up space, like write down the top 3 things that you've accomplished this month, what would you do differently next month, that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I prefer this more minimalistic layout where they just let you decide how you want to use it, but they've given you a little bit of structure. So the end of month review you could really use for anything you want. You don't have to say, you know, list the top 3 things that went right and 3 things you do differently or whatever. You can put whatever you want here. But it's giving you a little bit of guidance. So I really, really like this spread. I think that this is very, very useful. Really, the only thing that I would change about this is that I wish that they had made all of the font the Scribbles That Matter font, because I think that would give it more of a kind of handwritten bullet journal-y feel rather than this very computerized font. But the overall layout looks nice. So, you know, it's not a criticism. That's just, I kind of wish that they had done that, because I think that would have been really cool. But it's great as it is. So because this is undated, you've got all the monthly layouts together, and I really like that because this is the way that I'm used to planning. So Hobonichi, for example, which is my main planner, puts all the months at the beginning, and I like that. So if you're doing trackers, you can quite easily look through the whole year and see how the tracking has been going, because they're all in the same place. So I think that's a really nice touch. And this is designed to be for a year. I think you get 12 of those. So this is perfectly designed for a year's worth of monthly planning. And then you move into the weekly spreads. And this is another really interesting feature of this planner that I haven't seen anything quite like this either. So I think this planner is just really fascinating in terms of layout, what they've done. So here you have a vertical week on 2 pages, which is quite similar to a lot of week on 2 page planners with a vertical spread like the Hobonichi. So that isn't really shocking. The shocking bit is what they do next. Shocking in a good way. So again, you've got the dot grid all around here. So what this really makes me think of is somebody who has made their own week on 2 page spread in a bullet journal. And in fact, the whole thing is like this, everything that we've looked at so far. It's as if someone had taken a blank dot grid notebook and then filled in a weekly spread, you know, drawn in a weekly spread, and that's what it would look like. And here it says weekly timekeeper, and it has a Monday start, Monday through Sunday, equal space per day, which I love, no shared weekend, and it has a timeline running from midnight until 11 p.m. So it's actually a full 24-hour timeline, which is fantastic. So this is something else that's really, really rare that I have never seen anywhere else except for the Jibun Techo and now the Hobonichi in the 2018 edition of the Cousin. Those are the only other planners that I know of that have an actual 24-hour timeline in the weekly spread. So I think that this is amazing if you like either tracking sleep, or if you work night shifts, or if you otherwise just want to be able to go beyond what most planners have, which is stopping at 8 or 9 or 10 p.m. then this is definitely for you, because you can track every hour of the day, and I love that. So this is lined, but the lines are a little bit faint, so you can see you've got these quite bold lines here marking out the days, but the lines between the hours are a little bit faint. So you've got this space here, 1 line per hour. Then at the bottom you've got this little blank box, no dot grid, no lines, just blank for extra notes or whatever you want to put here. 1 row of dot grid at the bottom there. And then you've got a quote. So each of these weekly spreads has a quote. And this one says, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step" by Lao Tzu. It's quite a nice variety from different sources, different periods. Some are modern, some are more ancient. So I think that's a really nice touch. And then you've got some more dot grid on the side here. So you have quite a bit of space for note taking, and some of that is because of the size. Obviously this is B5, so it's going to be bigger than, you know, an equivalent A5. You just have more room. If this were A5, it would probably take up, that would be the whole planner more or less. So that's your weekly spread. And then what's interesting is when you turn the page, you get this. So this is another weekly layout, but a very different one, and they call this dailies. So their reasoning is you put your weekly schedule in here and any notes that you want to have for the week, and then here you can go more into depth. So some of the suggestions that they give on the back of the box, they give you some suggestions for what you can do with this. They say, for the dailies, there's more to a day than that which can be written in appointment or time slots. What did you learn? What did you experience? So it seems like they've got this in mind as more of a journal or a summary of the day type space, but obviously you could use this for more detailed to-do lists. You could use it as a combination of to-do lists and journaling and gratitude. Again, I really like the fact that it's very open, so it doesn't prescribe what it wants you to do. They give you some suggestions, but not in here. And so I think that that's great because it means that you can really make this your own. If you say you've got your daily to-do lists here, and then you've got a running to-do list for the week over here, you probably could use this for something more reflective, but I think it could also be nice to just have a more detailed planning space for the day here, or you could use it as a combination depending on what the day is like. The one thing that I find a little bit puzzling in this layout, which I love overall, is the way they've labeled the day. So they've labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then you've got another 2 boxes that would be perfect for Saturday and Sunday, but they haven't labeled them, and they've left this one open. So obviously, because you've got the dot grid, you could very easily make a line here, write in Saturday there and Sunday there, and then you'd have an equal space for notes. I feel like it would have been nice if they'd gone one way or the other and just kind of committed to labeling the entire week or left the whole thing unlabeled. But it is a really, really nice spread, and there's a lot of possibility for this. You can really do all kinds of things with it. And again, the fact that you've got the dot grid means that you can, you know, really take advantage of the bullet journaly nature of this if you want to be more creative. Then it goes into another week on 2-page spread, and then you get another daily, and that's the way it continues. So it continues like this for the whole year. And then at the very end, it's got another couple of cool features. So when you get to the last daily spread, it then says Extra Creative Space, which I think is a very nice title, and you've got another dot grid layout. So you've got 3, 4 2-page spreads of that. Then you have a really useful feature, password reminder. And then they have another great feature, pen test. And I think this is really pretty. So it says pen test, and it has a little drawing of a pen, and then it says test all new pens and markers on this side. So I have followed their instructions, and I have done a pen test here with a variety of different fountain pens in different nib sizes. Then when you flip it over, it says, so which ones are we using in this planner and which ones not, which I think is really nice. So these are the results of the pen test. Definitely ghosting, but no bleed through. So it's definitely, I think, fine for use with fountain pens as well. And then we've got another end paper here of the same charcoal cardstock, and then you have a little pocket. What bound planner would be complete without a pocket? And that's it. The bullet planner. I think it's a genius invention, and it has a lot of fantastic, unique features, and it's been designed very thoughtfully with planner addicts in mind. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions about it, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.